welcome back to another episode of Power Rangers Lore. Today we're going to be talking about the Badge of Darkness. Now, have you never heard of the Badge of Darkness, a legendary ancient evil artifact that could give others access to the morphing grid? Well, don't worry, not many people have. I didn't remember about it until I started doing research about it. I saw like a little clip like, do you know what this says? I go, whoa, what is that? Well, the Badge of Darkness is basically a little artifact that Rita pulls ahead in her dungeon that allowed the putties to become Power Rangers of sorts. They were of equal strength and power to the Rangers at the time. Now, this not only was just the top 5, but actually also the Green Ranger at the time, Tommy Oliver's things. And that when they fought, it was a hard-pressed battle in truth. Now, it's a little more complicated than just that, because the Red Ranger was never actually made a mutant of. Instead, they chose a monster, a lobster-like monster called Commander Crayfish. Now, I said lobster, but yeah, he's crayfish, but you know what I mean. So they basically had a little fight there. Now, let's go back to the beginnings of this episode. Rita decides that with a new plan that she's going to destroy the Rangers working against themselves because all her other plans have failed. Let's overwhelm them with new monsters. So she has 6 putties, basically trained by Goldar, to inherit this power that is the Badge of Darkness. Now, I don't think it's an always access badge. It's never brought up again, so I don't know why she doesn't keep using it, because it was pretty effective originally, but I think it's just a one-time, hey, these guys for a limited amount of time will have the powers of the morphing grid, or will have copies of there. Now, as they fight, as they are training, they one of them is considered clumsy and destroyed by Goldar for saying that he is not worthy of receiving the Red Ranger powers, or the awesome Red Ranger powers, essentially. Like, he has a greater respect for the Red Ranger than to give him a clumsy putty. So he immediately destroys that and replaces it with the Commander Crayfish monster. Now, the first battle of them would be Tommy and Kimberly fighting against their counterparts and getting their butts kicked pretty hard. And they would go back to Zordon, and Zordon would give the full explanation of what's going on here, because he's got like hindsight 2020 vision, basic powers of basically knowing everything that's going to happen before it even happens, kinda. And they realize what they have to do and fight against it. However, then the episode is talking about Tommy's forgetfulness for basically getting distracted and stuff like that, and he kind of forgets a lot of the different things and they get their butts kicked. Now, eventually, they do to stop these putty Rangers, and they are all eventually turned into giant monsters, and the Zords have to battle them. Now, they don't have like monster forms. No, they're just giant Rangers with, which is essentially just knockoff body armor that you can tell they're not clearly Rangers, but they're fighting the Zords, such as the Dragon Zord and the Mega Ultra Zord. Now, it's a very interesting power that this thing has for Badge of Darkness. Now, this is not the first time. This is the first time that there's an evil counterpart of Rangers, not like Evil Ranger, but like a clone version of them. That we do this several more times in Mighty Morphin, and then several more times throughout the entire Power Rangers series, such as the Psycho Rangers we would get, and several other different versions of that type of thing. Even in the comics, they currently are bringing up different things like that, such as Rita, Babu, and the rest of the squad also being turned into basically mutant Power Rangers. Now, I don't know why they called them the Mighty Morphin Mutants, because they're not really mutants unless they're saying that the Badge of Darkness spawns a mutant form of them, but I'm not 100% certain what's going on, why they name them mutants. Other things going on in there, we would see eventually in the comics of By Boom Studios that there would be a Red Mutant Ranger, and so some counterpart in that universe is not clumsy and considered to be quote-unquote good enough to hold the powers of the Red Ranger. Now, that would be the end and last time we would ever see the Badge of Darkness, because it would not create Zords for them, and it would never be used again by Rita, even though I think it's probably the better idea of just giving all your putties the same powers over and over again, and just keep fighting and destroying the reputation of the Rangers, because a lot of times when the people were seeing it, they were blaming the Rangers for all the power or even all the destruction that were being caused, until they realized, oh wait, they're just the evil versions of the Rangers set by Rita. Now, that is the history and lore behind the Badge of Darkness and where it is currently. Now, I hope we get more information about that. Eventually, like someone says, like in the comics in the future, that says basically the Badge of Darkness was the precursor to the Psycho Rangers and all type of stuff going on there. I think that'd be really cool to expand upon, but that's all we have currently. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Well, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys soon.